Hello, my name is Minister Terence Harris, and I will be teaching this week's small group lesson on the position of a man. Bishop taught an awesome lesson on Job this past Sunday. I have the pleasure of talking about Joseph, the dreamer. This week's lesson will be coming from Genesis 37, 1 until its entirety. But I will only be reading about Genesis 37, 1 through 11. I encourage you to read the entire chapter on your own. All right, let's see what the word has to say. So Jacob settled again in the land of Canaan, where his father had lived as a foreigner. This is the account of Jacob and his family. When Joseph was 17 years old, he often tended his father's flock. He worked for his half-brothers, the sons of his father's wives, Bilhah and Zeph. But Joseph reported to his father some of the bad things his brothers were doing. Jacob loved Joseph more than any of his other children because Joseph had been born to him in his old age. So one day, Jacob had a special gift made for Joseph, a beautiful robe. But his brothers hated Joseph because their father loved him more than the rest of them. They couldn't say a kind word to him. One night, Joseph had a dream, and then he told his brothers about it. They hated him even more than ever. Listen to this dream, he said. We were out in the fields tying up bundles of grain. Suddenly, my bundle stood up, and your bundles all gathered around and bowed low before mine. His brothers responded, "So you think you will be our king? Do you? Do you think you actually think you will reign over us?" And they hate him all the more because of his dream and the way he talked about them. Soon Joseph had another dream again. And again he told his brothers about it. "Listen, I've had another dream," he said. "The sun, the moon, 11 stars bow before me." This time he told the dream to his father as well as to his brothers. But his father scolded him. "What kind of dream is that?" he asked. "Will your mother and I and your brothers actually come and bow to the ground before you?" But while Joseph's brothers were jealous of Joseph, his father wondered what the dream meant. What the dream meant. Joseph, who was born, I'm just going to give you a real quick recap on what the dream meant. It meant that Joseph had to go through a lot because Joseph was, as we all know, Joseph was placed in a position where he was second in command for Pharaoh. And he was able to take Egypt out of a famine and into prosperity. And he was able to manage that. But let's see what Joseph had to go through. Just like Bishop talked about Job, I want to talk about how Joseph went through similar trials, but not on a tested level, but not on a test from Satan, but on a different level of trials. Joseph was thrown into, Joseph's brothers hated him. He was thrown into a well. He was sold as a slave. He was placed in Potiphar's house as a slave. He was accused while in Potiphar's house of trying to seduce Potiphar's wife. He was then thrown into prison, and in prison, he stayed in prison there. And then Joseph was also retried, had went through the test of translating dreams. Joseph was promoted for translating even Pharaoh's dream, to where Pharaoh had put him in a position of second in command. But let's talk about some of the qualities that it took for him to get to that level. Joseph was a very disciplined young man. And these are some of the qualities that it takes for us to where we can get to a position where we can receive different things. God is looking for us to be disciplined in the different things that we do. Joseph had displayed self-control. And as a man, holding self-control, because we tend to let things get us frustrated. And even, I'm not excluding the ladies, but we have to get to that point where we can exercise self-control. The next quality is integrity. When God was promoting him, he had to show that Joseph displayed great integrity. He displayed himself as being honest, being strong, having strong moral principles. He was very noble and a very trustworthy individual. Wow, throughout all of that, he still displayed these qualities. Joseph also displayed wisdom in what he was doing. He had to be wise in his way that he would address individuals. He would also be wise as to say he would never take the position where he was saying it was all on him. He was very wise on how he would present what was going on. Joseph was also very strategic. Being a very strategic young man, he showed, and men showing themselves to get into that position, being very strategic, you would have really well thought out ideas, calibrated. They would be not just random and out the way. They would be very calibrated. Joseph also exercised being humble, or showing humility throughout all of this. He showed modesty. He displayed meekness. He displayed respectfulness and submission. I mean that he even getting thrown into prison, he submitted to the guards he didn't go back and say, she did this and that was a lie. He didn't do any of that. He submitted. He didn't accuse himself, but he submitted to whatever was going on. He submitted himself low to be able to go through. Joseph also displayed grace. When you're displaying grace, he displayed kindness, because throughout it all, he had to display kindness, even in the midst of where he was. He even displayed kindness to his brothers, as we find out at the end of the story, where when they came, he fed them, he offered them different things. He gave them more than what they came back for. He didn't let a grudge hold them back. Joseph, and the final one, what I really want to get to, the key point, was Joseph displayed faithfulness. Joseph's faithfulness, he displayed loyalty to God. He displayed dignity. He displayed the responsibility. He displayed being very truthfulness, even in what he was doing. He never said that he was the translator. It's just being truthful. He said that God deciphers the translation. He just expounds it out. I just want to go back and just say, Joseph to me showed that he displayed leadership quality. So I would say Joseph was leadership tested. Thank you. It's time for our discussion.
Thank you for joining us today for a small group. We look forward to worshiping with you on Sunday. You can find us on our Facebook page or on our YouTube channel. We broadcast at 9 a.m., 11 a.m., and again at 5 p.m. on Sunday. Also remember that you can send your offering via Cash App or the Victory and Praise app. We look forward to seeing you soon. Remember Victory and Praise Stockton, 2029 East Harding Way, right here in the city of Stockton.